was great. Joining me now on tonight's all-star panel, on the left, Attorney Joey Jackson. On the right, Adam Geller, a pollster for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. And on the bird, George Washington University Professor David Rehr. Dave, I'm going to go to you first. President's, boy, he doesn't have a lot of good news. He's going to go to the heartland. What's the message he's going to send them now?
Well, the message has to be, I'm going to restrain my ideology, and I'm going to focus on practical solutions to get the economy growing. Helping small business, reducing the amount of regulation. Senator Brasso is right. Not only did it cost that much in July, but it cost $12.3 billion just this year in new regulation, all of which adversely affects small business people who are the backbone job creators of the country.
Joey, you get on the bus, 14 million people are still out of work, gas is $4 a gallon. What do you say to the Heartland? Heartland doesn't want to hear that. They want to hear, how are you going to fix this problem?
Well, first of all, that bus that you just referred to, it's going to be a victory tour. Let's keep that in mind, all right? Let's not forget that, number one, all right?
Victory usually implies you've won.
2012 will be the election. See, what you fail to understand.
It's going next week.
I understand that, all right? However, ultimately, what it's going to come to is victory. We still have time to get this economic malaise out, and there will be. And notice how David and the senator, what they talk about. Regulation. We hate regulation. What happens when you deregulate? We've seen it before, Eric. It results in failure. We need these businesses to be regulated so they can do the right thing.
That's like A-Rod coming up to the plate and running around the bases all the way around and then picking the bat up and say, I'm going to hit a home run.
He's a home run hitter, isn't he? He's a home run hitter, isn't he?
Only about one every 50 at-bats or so lately. Adam, what about it? What's the message?
Well, look, the message is he needs to let go of his ideology. If he's really going to create jobs, it's very, very simple. Stop declaring war on small businesses and let them start hiring. You know, here's the thing that cracks me up. We added 117,000 jobs. They were diminishing expectations. This is a political game called the game of diminishing expectations. Well, it's going to be about 90,000 jobs. So then when it's 117,000, you say, whoopee, victory. 117,000 doesn't work. Yeah, but let me tell you something, Joey. 117,000 jobs a month ain't going to cut it. We have big problems here.
Hang on one second, very quickly. David, we graduate 1 million high school seniors a year. I don't know, whatever, 50% of them or so going to college. We have a lot of people looking for jobs, and that's just going to get worse at 100,000 a month.
Well, that's right, and it doesn't account for the people who've already left the job force because they're so frustrated they're not even looking. So if you looked at unemployment plus those who are out of the workforce, we're probably in 12, 13, 14% range.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm sorry, guys, ran out of time. All right, bring it out to the panel. Joey, you know, New York City, we got a mosque down there that I say move it. Just move it. I don't care where you move it. Move it a block away. Just be symbolic and move it. Meanwhile, they are going to get tax-free status, or actually going to get some help financing the project, if I'm not mistaken. I don't like it.
Listen. This is America. One of the beautiful things about America is we're a melting pot. We have people from Italy, from Spain, from Ireland, from Israel, Africa, Dominican Republic. The fact is that I didn't hear that this violated any zoning regulations, any ordinances or the like. And the problem here, if it were 2 feet as opposed to the acres that it is, there would be issues that would abound. It's about religious tolerance, religious freedom. Let there be mosques, let there be temples, let there be churches, whatever let there be, as long as they're built properly and legally.
Adam, should people of a community have a say in what's built in their community?
People in the community should have a say, and yes, there should be religious tolerance, but here's the problem. There's a sensitivity pattern here, okay? Whether it's at Ground Zero, or now it's this enormous or potentially enormous structure in this little community. There's something going on here where they're rubbing their neighbors the wrong way. What they should be able to do is build something not at the site of Ground Zero, but someplace else, or build something that is more in keeping with the size and scope of the Muslim community in this particular area. The problem isn't building it, Joey. We get that, okay, and we will tolerate all religion. The problem is why all of the excess drama? Why the huge size? Why doing it at Ground Zero?
Keep the discussion on the table. Professor, help us out here, sir. What about it? Should a community have a say in what's being built in their community?
Well, I have to say, I agree with Joey on this one. You know, we have fundamental religious freedoms in this country. They want to build it. It's private property. They're following the zoning laws. The real issue is those community people should talk to their mayors and county officials and change zoning regulations if they don't like it.
Now, guys, let's throw a little something in here, Joey. There were bone fragments found on the roof of that building. We know the landing gear fell through the roof of the building as well. Any question that this could be considered a cemetery?
You know, I don't know that it could be considered a cemetery. I just know that it's a place that it has some religious significance to the people who want to build it, all right? And I think ultimately, provided that they build it properly and legally, let them celebrate who they are. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't offend anybody else.
Hey,
Should there be community involvement? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, if they build it, the people will come.
Adam, the
Joey,
state of New Jersey lost hundreds of people in the World Trade Center towers coming down.
Joey, this is beyond religious tolerance. This is having to do with a sensitivity issue for a lot of lost lives. This, Eric, is a victory mosque. That's what it's called. And there's this whole thing about building it high up and overlooking ground zero. That's just, you know, insensitive to say the least, disturbing. Build your mosque, build it someplace else.
And Professor,
don't build it on that ground.
Professor, New York City denied the makers of the 9/11 documentary that we outlined a minute ago. They denied them a permit to display this film in public places in New York. Meanwhile, we have to make sure that they have the right to build their victory mosque on hallowed ground.
Yeah, there's something that just is flawed about that thinking, Eric. To your point, the community could do a great service for the country by just saying, you know what, we could build it next to the Twin Towers, but we're going to move it because we're sensitive as well, being Americans.
Right, and I think that doesn't look like that's going to have sir.
No, that's right, and that's unfortunate.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, guys. I'm going to go to you, Adam.
Yes, sir.
This just drives me absolutely bonkers. He meets with big labor behind closed doors. We don't have the agenda. We didn't know it was on the schedule. We found out about it, and all of a sudden there's no details of the meeting.
So much for transparency. This was going to be the most transparent administration. Remember that in 2008? Stewart has one thing completely wrong. Unions don't want more jobs. Unions want more power. And everything that they've done in this administration, federally and in the states, tell us that very thing.
All right, Joey, I want you to hang in. I know you want to jump in here, but David, go ahead. You're our professor in D.C. Tell us about the NLRB, what it's supposed to be, and tell us what it is right now.
Right. Well, it's supposed to adjudicate claims when people are trying to organize businesses, and either one side or the other side is unfair in that process. It is turned into, unfortunately, with a 3-2 margin on the board, a way to redefine how you can organize businesses, which is basically scaring lots of businesses in America today that they're going to be organized in a bad economic climate.
And Joey, one of my biggest problem with the NLRB, and we highlighted on this show when he appointed Craig Becker during recess, this very time when Senate and Congress were both in recess, we said, boy, this guy's pro-labor. This is going to be a problem. And sure enough, look at Boeing. Boeing's going, what? How do we ever get this guy?
Not a problem at all. Let me just take one step back for 1 second, Eric. First of all, on the issue of the secret meeting, because Obama doesn't have a meeting in Grand Central Station for everyone to see, doesn't mean that it's a secret meeting. He had a private meeting with union leaders. On the issue of transparency, does that mean that everything the president does has to be on everybody's agenda? The fact is he wanted to have a meeting to discuss significant issues, to discuss job creation, to discuss how we get the economy moving forward. There's nothing wrong with that. To the final point.
He's asking
Your
big labor how to do it?
Absolutely.
He's clearly out of ideas then, Joey.
But Joey, they've given him 400.
We live in a society where we welcome everyone's idea. On the issue, Eric, of appointing someone who would be sympathetic to labor's issue, what's wrong with that? After their
Hold on, I got to do this.
They're
They're wrapping me, but Adam, I got to go to before this. One of the most corrupt states in the union, besides my home state, Illinois, New Jersey. What goes on behind closed doors?
What goes on behind closed doors is frightening and shocking. And here's the problem, Joey. $400 million in taxpayer money and in union dues going to his campaign. That's the problem.
Conspiracy theorists. Unbelievable.
400 million buys you something, Joey. I'm not sure what, but maybe it buys you a recess appointment skewing the NLRB. Coming up, starting to sound like a candidate. Could the former VP be stepping out of retirement to make a 2012 appearance? Let's bring it out to the panel. David, I skipped you in the last segment towards the end there. I want you to weigh in on Al Gore. What do you make of this? Is he going to run? Is he going to run against Obama?
Yeah, I actually think it's pitiful. Here you have a former congressman, former senator, former vice president, who is on his own TV network with his own hand-picked anchor, blasting Fox and the Tea Party, and it just diminishes him. And it's unfortunate and just pitiful.
Joey, you like this guy?
I think this is awesome. This is freedom of speech. Al Gore can say whatever he wants in whatever form he wants. He is a relevant figure. He was, as David said, significantly involved politically. He's a person who should have been president and would have been president but for the Supreme Court of the United States. And I believe that he has significant issues, and those issues that he was talking about before are highly probative and relevant to the discussion.
What in the world did you just say, Jackson?
Highly probative.
Oh, that's legal talk.
Adam, we made this little, it's got to be green tea because Al's green, right? A little green, Al Gore green tea, and we made sure it's tree hugger approved.
Oh, goodness, great.
This guy, listening to Al Gore and Keith Olbermann reminded me of the movie Dumb and Dumber. Remember Lloyd and Harry, the two of them? What are they talking about? It made no sense.
Welcome back, Al Gore. I've missed you, and I've missed your incoherent ramblings. And you're right, Joey. He could say whatever he wants, the whole I invented the internet thing. He was really talking about what he really wants is a Tea Party for the left without that pesky adherence to the Constitution and patriotism. I guess he must have forgotten about all those crazy union or pro-union rallies in the State House in Wisconsin.
The Tea Party has held hostage the debt ceiling bill. Let's be clear about that. The fact that he's being vocal about that, and the fact that he's saying that the Tea Party is part of.
So explain something to me, Joey.
The
party said don't raise the debt ceiling. And the liberals on the left and Obama and everyone said, no, if you don't raise it, markets will fall apart. They raised the debt ceiling, and the markets fell apart.
Well,
maybe they were right, Joe.
No,
How about
maybe
that?
They could
How about saying the Tea Party was right?
I'd say they're absolutely wrong. See, the problem is that when you want political improvement and you want jobs and opportunities, you have to compromise. Eric, I may not agree with you 100%, maybe not even 50%. Adam, not at all. But the point is that we have to have compromise if we're going to get something done.
Yeah, go ahead, David. The Tea Party, were they right or were they wrong in this whole mess? And why are they being villainized?
Well, I think they're being villainized by the left because it's a way to organize the left to get them more motivated. They're unhappy with Obama. They're unhappy with his policies, many of them reminiscent of former President Bush's policies, and they're like, that's not the guy that we voted for. We're really unhappy.
All right.
But I think former Vice President Gore just continues to diminish himself.
Okay.
He leads this green initiative. Turns out the science is junk science and bad.
David,
yes,
we need Al Gore.
But come on.
David, we need Al Gore.
We're going to have to leave it
and
there.
Eric knows he loved that tea.
Joey Jackson, Adam Geller, David Rare on the Bird. Good night, everybody. That's a mess.